We all know some snakes can cost as little as $20 or as much as $30, $40, even $50,000 sometimes. And what dictates pricing is a lot of variables, a lot of market trends, what's going on at the time, so on and so forth. But people are always curious how much certain snakes cost. Why do they cost that much? So today I figured it'd be kind of fun to look at some of the most expensive snakes I have purchased that live with me today. So let's dive right in. Now, before I start showing you some of these animals, I wanted to briefly talk about the reptile market. I by no means am an expert on this. In fact, I would say I'm pretty novitiate or beginner at best in interpreting the market. However, there are trends, there are waves, ebbs and flows of things becoming popular and losing popularity. When there's supply and demand factored in, when there's an abundance of a species, the price goes down. When they're rare, the price goes up, so on and so forth. So some of these variables are ultimately the bottom line at what determines the price. When something's new, it's going to be pretty valuable, and over the years, as it becomes a little more available, bred a little bit more, its price is going to drop. So sometimes people wait. Well, I've definitely waited. I've definitely waited till things become much more manageable. Life is life. We all have budgets that we have to sort of attend to and just limit within. So it is what it is. You know, we always covet those very expensive snakes, but sometimes the snake that is the most valuable is the one that you just truly love regardless of the price. So I wanted to get that out of the way because, yeah, we're going to talk about price specifically today. It's kind of fun. People really are curious about that. It is interesting to talk about, but ultimately I did want to get across that you shouldn't be determining what animals you work with based on the price. These aren't material objects to give you clout that you can go strut around town for attention. These are animals, these are living things, and ultimately the animal that's going to get the best care from you is the one you love the most and are most devoted to and passionate about. So if you're looking to get into animals, get into them for the right reasons, not because they're highly coveted and valuable and because that you think that's going to make you the top dog or the coolest person or whatever. Get into it because you love it and just run from there. So enough of me yakking. Let's look at a couple snakes. Okay, we're going to start with something that everybody's probably pretty familiar with, and that's the beautiful black and yellow jungle carpet pythons. These can range in price from anywhere from like $250 up to like $750 for babies. And where that price ranges is dictated by quality, color, cleanliness, lineage, valuable information, things like that. And just, you know, ultimately, how does it look? Is it pretty amazing? Is it spectacular? Does it have great lineage? Does it come from some legendary animals? Is it from a good breeder? You know, all these things sort of make a big difference. An animal like this as a baby, this is produced by Martin Roseman of Martin Armoralia. This is a beautiful, beautiful jungle carpet from some of his hand-chosen, selectively bred animals, which he's a stickler for quality. He very much has an eye for only the best. And so I cherry-picked a specific pairing that I knew was going to produce an awesome clutch, and when they hatched, we spoke, and I picked this girl out. And I'm very glad I did. She's phenomenal, to say the least. Something like this would probably go for, you know, probably $500 to $700 as a baby right now. I honestly don't even remember how much I paid. Martin is a friend of mine, and we've worked a bit together and done some transactions. So I would say if you were to expect to find a baby of this caliber available for sale from a breeder, you should be paying at least $500. But don't be surprised if it runs you about $750 shipped. Although today's shipping prices are pretty wild, unless you're using my discount code Riley50 at Reptiles Express to get you 50% off up to 10 shipping labels per customer. But that's a different story. All right, so that's a jungle carpet. Let's look at another animal. Okay, so when we talk about certain morphs, When they are brand new, rare, limited to a handful of breeders, they command a high price. As they start trickling out to people who are buying them, and those folks start raising them up and breeding them, producing animals, the price gradually comes down. It takes some time, and it really does depend on that progression, how many people buy it, how many animals are let go from the breeder, you know, all these different things, right? So to help exemplify this discussion, I brought out my possible super hypo tiger coastal that I got from Nick Mutton of Inland Reptile. And Nick brought in the hypo stuff very early on, and when it first came in, they were going for, you know, $3,000–$4,000 for really nice animals. And then you start mixing tiger in there, and Nick held on to a lot of this stuff, added a beautiful another mutation, and was able to produce some more hypos while they were still very rare, and the price stayed up there. So they were going for, you know, $2,800, $2,500, $3,000 for some really nice hypo tigers early on. When I picked up this boy from Nick, he was listed for about $2,400. So that's $2,400. Now, granted, I also got a female and sent him a few other Xanic tigers, and we did some stuff. Nick and I are friends. We've worked out some deals in the past before, but if I were to have approached him that day and said I would like to buy this animal, I would have had to cough up $2,400 for this boy. Now, they have since come down in price, which I knew was going to happen, and I'm not upset about it. It's the normal sort of way things go. A nice hypo right now, you could probably get a really nice hypo for just under $1,000, maybe $700–800 from a good breeder at a show. If you want a really nice hypo tiger like this, you're still going to pay 4 digits, but you're probably going to pay more like 12, 14, something like that, depending on the caliber. This guy is possibly a super because both of his parents carried the hypo gene, and he's an exceptional tiger. As you can see, he's essentially what we used to call tri-stripes a long time ago. Dare I say he's near perfect? I will call him perfect when he breeds for me. But until that day, he's a beautiful piece of eye candy. He's a great example of the hypo mutation. It really does turn the colors to more of a caramel gold and gets rid of the black, where caramel just changes the color and still retains a lot of black. So really, really beautiful snakes. I'm a fan, and I can't wait to reproduce some of my very first hypo coastals. Probably not this season, but next year. Whenever I do, I'll be very happy to have that experience. This guy's been a blessing. Such a wonderful mutation, great snakes. And when you put stripes on it, does it get any better? I figured a great way to wrap this one up would be to end it with something I think everybody would kind of call a pinnacle Morelia, and that's the diamond python. Arguably the most expensive of the Morelia in its straight up wild type form. They are not as commonly bred as the rest of carpet pythons, Morelia, rough scales, green trees. They need to get a lot colder. They're a bit of a different animal from the rest of the snakes, and therefore they are not quite as commonplace, not available. Although you do see them, they're going to command a lot more than you would think a wild type sort of carpet python would. So before I give you the lowdown, I want you guys to start putting some guesses in the comments below. Tell me what you think I paid for not just this boy, but my pair. I got a pair. Now, before I tell you what I paid, currently you can find diamond pythons available on Morph Market or from breeders for anywhere from $1,500, $1,700 all the way up to like $2,200 for babies. And that's because, like I said, they need to get really cold. They aren't bred as often. They're not so straightforward of a species to breed when it comes to looking at the Morelia sort of clade as a whole. And therefore, they're probably the least available out of all of them. They're amazing. I wish I would have gotten them sooner. They do need to get cold at night, similar to a lot of chameleon species. You know, if you run them hot all the time, you're basically burning the candle at both ends, and they don't live very long past 6 to 8 years old. So they need to get cold at night. They need to get real cold to breed. And yeah, they're just a beautiful species. This is my male. This is a Gary Violine diamond produced by Psychotic Exotics before they sold. and they're just phenomenal snakes. Very cold tolerant, very inquisitive, very active, friendly, always ready to eat, but not bitey or aggressive. And I can't say enough good things about these snakes. They've been getting a lot of just and well-deserved popularity recently, so figured we would end on a great example. Now, I got a great deal on my pair. I paid about $3,300 after tax. It was about $3,000 for the pair. So after tax, unfortunately, because that's how the way of the world is. Can't get anything without being taxed by Uncle Sam. So yeah, I paid about $3,000 for my pair, $3,300 after taxes. Just stunning animals, and I wish I would have gotten more sooner. I wish I would have gotten them while I was very close with Todd at Psychotics. I mean, I'm still very close with Todd, but while the business was still around and I still lived near there, I should have taken full advantage. I love these snakes. They're amazing. So figured we'd end it on a high note, a beautiful diamond python. We can't talk about expensive Morelia without talking about diamond pythons. So, alrighty, let this guy go back, get his morning bask on, and we're gonna wrap this show up. All right, so there you have it. I know carpet pythons aren't as expensive as some other snakes. Generally, we kind of have a ceiling on it. It doesn't really get out of control these days, but for me, those are kind of expensive. I don't know. I used to covet being able to acquire animals like that 5, 6, 7 years ago, and here I am with them. So that fact is not lost upon me. I'm very grateful, very blessed, but I also know the work that I had to put in to get there. So no mistaking that I earned it, but I'm also very grateful. So with that, I just want to wrap this up. Thank you for everybody who's been watching and enjoying the channel. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go check out my sponsors, Reptile Husbandry Designs. Get yourself some amazing 3D printed snake husbandry accessories. Use code RR10 to get you 10% off that discount. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're doing any shipping this year, once the weather is stable, of course, use Reptiles Express, save you some money. Use code Riley50 to get you 50% off the standard FedEx shipping rates for up to 10 labels per customer. So that's going to save you a lot of money. With that money that you save, go join USARK, become a member of USARK in USARK, Florida. I'll have all their information in the description below. Membership matters. They're the only lobbying body of folks working to keep undue reptile aimed legislation off the books. So the least we can do for people who support us is support them back. So sign up today if you aren't already a member. And speaking of support, if you like what I got going on here, come on, check me out. Patreon.com. Really easy to find me. We got a nice community going. We got a Discord. Patrons get early access to babies, inside scoop on everything that's going on, discounts on merch, you name it. So if that sounds interesting to you, come on by. It's a great time, I promise. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. See you on the next one. Later.